When people think of intellectual property rights, they don't often think about their own DNA first. However, that's exactly what many experts are starting to warn about. Between public and easily accessible services like 23andMe and more advanced research labs, it's becoming easier and easier to analyze or even sequence someone's genome, raising questions of how all this new DNA data that is being produced should be handled and how to protect people's genetic privacy. These concerns extend from the use of people's DNA in research studies, companies storing people's personal information for their own interests, businesses looking to patent genetic discoveries, to even employees or insurance companies who could potentially use this information to discriminate. Today, I'm here with 3 experts to find out more about the seriousness of this issue and what can be done to ensure genetic security for everyone. Now, Brenna, it's nice to have you. Where did this issue start?
So, a project called the Human Genome Project began in order to sequence the human genome starting in 1990. The goal of the project was to sequence all 3 billion letters of the genome in 15 years. And this was mainly done in order to identify genes that played a role in genetic diseases. But it didn't take long for people to want to patent individual genes or gene segments. And there are benefits and risks to patenting genes. Some people argued that without patents, potential licensees from the US industry would not be interested in commercial development based on the project. But as far as risks, the people who patented these genes would be able to decide who can profit from carrying out research on the genes, how much they can charge for access, and how much to charge individuals who want to be tested. In response to wanting to patent genes and similar controversies, the Supreme Court ruled that human genes cannot be patented because they are products of nature and that DNA could not be patented unless it was altered in a lab. Now there are other research projects attempting to sequence all or parts of the human genome, and the controversy is far from over.
Who would you say are the main stakeholders in this discussion?
The main stakeholders are the research participants who are submitting their DNA to be sequenced and the scientists who are studying the genome. This discussion centers around balancing scientific advancements and studying the genome with the rights of the participant. Also, with the rise of private genotyping companies, these entities also play a role in the discussion as well.
Thank you, Brenna. Anna, what policies are currently being put into place to address this?
Well, nowadays, the common rule requires any study involving human genomic research to have the consent of the participants, informing them about the details of the procedures, the risks, and benefits. Also, the NIH proposed the Genome-Wide Association Studies Policy, allowing large genomic datasets to be used and shared with other researchers. For this, DNA donors must consent for the use of their data. Their privacy is enhanced through the controlled access to the information. This controlled access can be achieved with measures such as the NIH Genomic Data Sharing Policy that requires researchers to ask for permission from data access committees in order to use sensitive data in their studies. What is more, in 2015, the NIH developed the Genomic Data Sharing Policy, which demands researchers to ask participants for consent for future studies using their genomic data. As part of the use of this data for research, other individuals or entities might want to use their information for pursuing their interests. This could lead to discrimination based on the genetic information of a patient. For this reason, the Genetic Information and Non-Discrimination Act was published. This policy prevents insurers and employers from requesting genetic information of an individual or relative.
That's good to hear, Anna. Jenna, what recommendations would you give to the public as a whole about this issue?
I would say the most important thing for all members of the public is to remember that your genome is your own. It's your information and you decide what to do with it. That's why it's important for everybody to know your rights, stay educated, and make your own decision that works for you. If you're okay with having your genetic information shared, that's your choice, but regardless, make sure to ask questions if somebody needs your genetic material. You could ask questions like, will my genetic material be anonymized? How long will my data be stored? Is my data secure? Could this be used to identify me, my family? And what exactly will my data be used for? Will it be used for scientific advancement? Will it make a profit? Also, make sure to consider who is asking for your data. Is this a private company? Is this your doctor? or is this researchers? Make considerations accordingly. And also remember that it's not just you who your genetic data affects. It also affects everybody you're related to. It could potentially be used to identify family members or yourself by law insurance, or be used by a life insurance company or other actors. And it could potentially be taken by hackers depending on how secure it is. While there are many laws in place to protect you, public awareness is key to keeping those laws on the books. Thank you for letting me share, Anna. Back to you.
Thank you, Jenna, and thanks to all our experts. It's clear that this is a complex topic that will only become more and more relevant as time passes. The more public and legislative awareness may be needed to handle its effects. One thing's for sure, as long as everyone has DNA, this is an issue that everyone should pay attention to.